Hey comic book fans, welcome back to the Comic Fix, episode 37.2. In today's reviews, I'll start things off with Batman Detective Comics issue number 18. There's been one thing I've been noticing with John Layman's run. It's been getting bombarded with these tie-ins to other Batman books. Now with the death of Robin, we have Requiem and Detective Comics. The interesting thing is to see how John Layman takes what DC has given him. DC's telling him, okay, you have to put your book on hold, or your story, so you can get this story about how Batman is, lost his faith in himself since the death of his son. John Layman took this and said, okay, I'll take that challenge, but it's going to be wrapped around the story that I am telling. I'm not going to stop my story to tell your story that you want me to tell. So John Layman does this awesome thing where he will have one page dedicated to the death of Robin, where you have Bruce Wayne going to the gravestone of Damian Wayne. He gets a tear in his eye, and you definitely can see that Batman himself would not be going and being all sad that his son died or being brooding like he usually is. No, he would bury himself in his work. And that's what you're seeing happen here. John Layman is not taking the time to stop his story to tell the death of Robin. No, that's already happened. So what is he doing? He's kept on going with the story. And I really like the balls that John Layman has. He is basically telling DC Comics, yes, you may have my book tied into this whole event that's going on from Death of the Family to now Requiem, but that's not going to stop my story. And that's what you get here. You're still getting the story of Emperor Penguin and how he has taken over all the stuff that Cobblepot has done. Now, if you do not remember, the Penguin had to go and deal with the stuff with the death of the family. He put in charge his #1 henchman to be in charge of his empire. And when he comes back from the days with the Joker, he goes back to find out that he can't get into his home, that this new guy, Emperor Penguin, his #1 henchman, has took it over his empire. And so we have a Penguin that is out of his norm. And I love how John Layman is not really telling a Batman story, but a villain story about a villain who has been taken out of his comfort zone and is being put into these situations that you would not see coming. I'm really liking the world that John Layman is constructing in the Detective Comics line. This book has some different style. It has a different outlook. You look at the art from Jason Fabok. His artwork looks so different from all the other Batman lines. His book looks a little bit cleaner than any of the other books, but it works so well with the story that John Layman is telling. This book has style, and I really do enjoy it. And John Layman has balls to say to DC Comics, yes, you may tell me I have to do this event tie-in book, but no, I am going to do it, but it's going to be around the story that I am telling. I'm not going to stop my story to tell your story. I really like the storytelling that John Layman has. This book is so different from all the other Batman books. Go and pick this book up. Batman Detective Comics issue number 18 gets a big old thumbs up, and it does get a David Lee approved. The next review that I'm going to be having is of a writer who likes to experiment of his books. Like what he did with Donna Troy in making her this foul-mouthed little girl in his Justice League run, to when he did Cry for Justice, where he just destroyed anything Justice League related. And that is none other than James Robinson himself in Earth 2 issue number 18. Now, James, I did listen to your Comic Vine podcast where you did state that this issue right here was a big old experiment on your part. And you failed. You even told yourself, I failed at this issue. That I tried, this is James Robinson's words, I tried to do a Michael Bendis type of book. Now, Brian Michael Bendis, when I've read his books, he's really wordy in there. But he just mastered it really well. Where James Robinson, I will want to try that. I want to try to have some variety in my writing career. So what did I do? At this issue, I tried to be Brian Michael Bendis. And let me tell you, folks, it did not work whatsoever. There are points in this issue where he is so wordy that it just takes away from Nicholas Scott's artwork. Like, look at this. Look at this. All this text. And there's like a picture that just doesn't have any variety in there. I don't even think Nicholas Scott knew what to do, because you could just look at this. It's just getting all thrown with all these words in there. She's like, how can I make this interesting? And you can't. There's so much words in this book. Yes, this is a book, but there's a flow to New Age comics that was not here in this issue. I also had issue with the way that Nicholas Scott's artwork was in here at times. You would definitely tell that with the experiment that James Robinson's doing, that she did not know what to do with this book. I also hate the representation of the Flash's mother. Now, the Flash and Khalid, I believe that's his name, and Flash's mother are in this dimension where Dr. Fate's at. And they're being interrogated by this bad guy. Well, okay, you see the Flash and you see Flash's mom. Now, Flash's mom does not look her age whatsoever. If you would see this right here, now who would you think that? Would you think that that's a mom right there, or would you just think that's just Flash's girlfriend? I mean, Nicholas Scott art, she is a fantastic artist, but the way that she de-aged the Flash's mom just makes her look like a teenager instead of someone who has a 21 or 25-year-old son. I'm sorry, Nicola, but just that, I just could not I just couldn't go into the story and enjoy it. There's a lot of things that just was experiment gone wrong in this issue. And I know that James Robinson loves to experiment in his books, but this time it was a failure. And James Robinson even said, I know that this book was that this experiment that I did with this book was a failure. And I will never do this again. You won't see that again in any of my books, because I am not Brian Michael Bendis. And I'm glad to see that James Robinson noticed this, because he has a beautiful book here in Earth 2. But if he went this way for the whole entire rest of the run, I would not be interested whatsoever. And it's going to be interesting to see how he changes things up next time to experiment with Earth 2. And hopefully it becomes a success, because I really like James Robinson as a writer. But this right here felt a little bit more in line with his cry for justice that he did a couple years back. So Earth 2, issue number 8, or issue number 10, he's a thumbs down with a burn. Burn this book. I did not enjoy this book whatsoever. There was just so much wrong with this issue that could not override the good. And that is so sad to see for this book. So a thumbs down with a burn. Now tell me, folks, do you like Indians? Do you like pirates? Do you love America? Well, then look no further than Great Pacific, issue number 5. Now, this book has been a book that nobody has been talking about, but they should. The storyline is that Chas, this billionaire's son, who has lost his father, and through the years he has been trying to prove himself as a man. And what does he do? Well, he wants to get rid of the garbage heap that is in the Great Pacific. Now, I know, that does not sound interesting whatsoever. But the way that Joe Harris does his story is so awesome. It almost has like this Indiana Jones feel, where you see Chas, our main character, just going through different trials and tribulations, but coming out of it stronger. And just the way that the trials are done are just so much fun. It's just a fun adventure. I think the part where this book just grabbed me so hard was when the point where you find out that there's been this giant octopus that's been following Chas around through the 5 issues. And you're wondering, oh God, what is this huge beast and why is it after Chas? Well, this beast loves Chas and is acting like it's Chas's personal attack dog. I absolutely love this issue when you have scenes in there with pirates, and then all of a sudden there is a whole bunch of Indians in the background fighting the pirates. It is so awesome. Only in comics can you get this high fantasy. The way that the depiction of Martin Morazzo's artwork in here, and I'm sorry if I butcher your name, is so awesome. There's points in there where you see our main character Chas, and he's hanging upside down. And just the way that the artwork depicts that is so beautiful. And at every single ending to every single issue just has this one where you just want more. Great Pacific is a book that nobody is reading, but everybody should. I am going to be pushing this book really hard in my videos, telling you guys, this book has something special. And I don't think that this is a mini-series, folks. I think that this is an ongoing for right now. Because I don't see anywhere in there where it says 5 of 6 or 6 of 10 or anything like that. And I went on to the Image website. Nowhere on there does this say that this is a mini-series. This is a series that people need to pay attention to because I think that there's something special here. So Great Pacific, issue number 5, gets a thumbs up with a David Lee approved. This next book that I'm going to be reviewing is living proof that if you put a good writer and a good artist on any book, they can make a turd into gold. And that's exactly what happened in Green Arrow, issue number 18. Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino have done this fantastic job at redefining who Green Arrow is in the New 52. Back in when 2013 started, I said, Green Arrow, this is the year of Green Arrow. And this is my first issue into Jeff Lemire's run of Green Arrow. Now, issue number 17 at my comic book shop sold out like hotcakes. I did not have my chance to go and pick it up. So I finally got my hands on issue number 18. Let me tell you, this is such a breath of fresh air for this character that was dying in the New 52. It felt like before Jeff Lemire got on that there was no place for this hero. But under the wings of Jeff Lemire, there he is. The storyline is very much centered on who Green Arrow is and how he is struggling. Q-Corp, his corporation, his family corporation, he has been kicked out of that corporation. Everything is going under for Green Arrow and for our main character. I absolutely love how Sorrentino's artwork is done in this issue where you have acts of violence. And in those acts of violence, the color schemes changes. It's so awesome to see how Sorrentino is able to put his own little flair into this book. This book has so much style where there was no style to be had. This book went from the worst to the first, and there's nothing that just... This book screams to be read. From the visual styles of Sorrentino's artwork to Jeff Lemire's characterization of who Green Arrow actually is. It's mind-blowing in this book. I think the part that I most loved about this issue was in the points where you had the main villain, Komodo, and you have him interacting with his daughter. And when you see these two interacting with each other, you actually get to a little bit care for the villain. You see some humanity in him. But through that humanity, you do see some wickedness in there. And you see the mind games that he has played on his daughter and how messed up she is because of her father. It's going to be interesting to see where Jeff Lemire takes this book. Because this book went from shit to like the cream of the crop in literally one issue. I have never seen this much of a turnaround for a series as I have seen in Green Arrow. Everybody, go and pick up this book. This book has so much for every single different type of reader. This book feels unique and intriguing. Green Arrow issue number 18 gets a huge ass thumbs up with a David Lee approved.